years, this was just another one of those political headlines, right? You'd see angry farmers, maybe some tractor blockades on the news. But now, a huge trade deal that's been stuck in limbo for decades, well, it's quietly clicking into place. And believe it or not, it's about to change what you find on store shelves and restaurant menus, all starting with a single bottle of wine. And it really all boils down to this one simple, powerful idea. This isn't some abstract economic theory. Nope. This is about a real-world decision that a wine buyer or a restaurant owner has to make every single day. Just a few percentage points on an import tax, I mean, that's literally the difference between a bottle being way too expensive to even consider and it becoming their next big bestseller. So how did we get here? How did this door, which was shut for so long, finally creak open? For decades, this whole EU-Mercosur trade deal was just talk, a negotiation, a debate, a political football. But today, well, that's all changing. It's actually becoming real. We're talking about the EU-Mercosur Free Trade Agreement, and after more than 25 years of back and forth, it's finally gotten the green light from EU member states. Now, for the people on the ground, the exporters, the importers, this is a huge psychological shift. The conversation has totally flipped from if this will ever happen to when it's going to take effect. And you better believe the smart businesses are already getting ready. So this new framework, it creates this really fascinating connection, bringing two very different worlds together. On one side, you've got the historic, sun-drenched vineyards of France's Rhône Valley. And on the other, you have the massive, dynamic, and fast-growing market of Brazil. And when you look a little closer, you start to see just how perfectly matched these two are. I mean, the Rhône Valley, it produces these wines that are serious but not intimidating. They're generous, they're fantastic with food, and they're just easy for people to understand. And then you have Brazil, this huge market. We're talking over 600 million bottles a year, where imported wine is already a totally mainstream thing. It's a market that is primed and ready for a clear, compelling new option. And this chart of Brazil's wine imports, it really tells the story. You see Chile and Argentina are the big players, which, makes sense. They're right next door, they offer great value. But then look at France. It's there, it's respected, it's got a decent slice of the pie, but it is nowhere near being the leader. There is so much room to grow here. This isn't a locked-down market. That door is wide open for the right product. Okay, so let's zoom in on the deal itself. Because honestly, the timing of this breakthrough is what makes this whole opportunity so incredibly powerful right now. And this was not a quick thing. Not at all. I mean, look at this timeline. We're talking about a journey that kicked off way back in 2000. There are so-called historic agreements that just fizzled out. There are huge political fights, a bunch of almost there moments. But the green light it just got from member states, that makes this time different. The path forward is finally set, and those tariffs are gonna start coming down. And the scale we're talking about here is just staggering. This deal is set to wipe out up to 4 billion euros in tariffs. That makes it the largest trade agreement the EU has ever put together. For a wine producer, what this really means is simple. This isn't just some small opportunity. No, this is a fundamental change in the cost of doing business in a massive, thirsty market. So we've got the deal, we've got the market. But why is the Rhône the perfect pairing? What is it about these particular wines that just fit so beautifully with the Brazilian palate and their incredible food culture? Okay, let's get specific. A classic Côtes du Rhône Rouge. It just smells so inviting, Ripe fruit, a little bit of spice. And when you taste it, it's juicy and it's got just enough structure to stand up to grilled meats like picanha, but it's not so tannic that it's going to scare anybody off. It's round, it's comforting, and it's exactly the kind of wine that makes a restaurant manager think, oh yeah, this is going to fly by the glass. And for an importer, the Rhône offers this beautiful, super simple ladder of quality. It's a dream. You start your customers with a really accessible Côtes du Rhône. Then you can move them up to a Villages wine for, say, a special weekend dinner. And then you anchor the whole portfolio with a prestigious cru for gifts or big celebrations. It's one region, one story, but at different price points. And that is a powerful and really easy story to sell. So having the right product is one thing. That's great. But how do you actually turn that into a winning game plan in a really competitive market? I mean, that's the real challenge, isn't it? The smart way in isn't to start talking about soil types or grape clones, it's to talk about the food on the table. This chart lays out the strategy perfectly. A basic Côtes du Rhône, it's perfect for churrasco. A Villages wine, yeah, that can handle some richer sauces. A top cru, Well, that's what you bring to an important dinner. When you frame the wines around food and occasions, the whole strategy just clicks. It becomes instantly understandable for everyone, from the importer all the way down to the customer. So, all of this leads us to the key strategic question, right? In a market that's dominated by value-packed wines from Chile and Argentina, do you even try to compete on price? Is the goal to just be the cheapest French wine you can find? The answer is absolutely not. The winning play is right here. You don't aim for cheap. You aim to be the most convincing French food wine on the shelf at a fair price. See, the Mercosur deal doesn't make Rhone wine cheap. What it does is it makes it attainable. It moves it from being a luxury outlier to being a sensible premium option. And that is a much stronger and more sustainable place to be. Okay, so this is a great story for French winemakers and Brazilian importers, for sure. But why should it matter to the rest of us wherever we happen to be in the world? Because this story is like a perfect little miniature of how our global economy actually works. A political decision made in Brussels leads directly to a price change in Sao Paulo. The right product finds its perfect market once a barrier is removed. And a smart strategy is always more powerful than just having a low price. At the end of the day, it shows that these huge abstract trade deals are quietly shaping the choices you have in your local supermarket every single day. And that leaves us with one final thought. The next time you're out shopping, just take a look inside your cart. That coffee from Colombia, those avocados from Mexico, or maybe, in a few years, that bottle of Côtes du Rhône. What in there is the quiet result of a global deal made years ago? A door that finally, silently, swung open.